Hi, everybody. We're going to talk about The September House by Carissa Orlando. It was published in 2023. It is a story about a husband and wife who, towards the end of their careers, buy an old house. It's old, but it's also a Victorian home, and everyone knows that Victorian homes are like haunted, really, really haunted, terrifyingly so, at least this one is. It is told in first person, so we hear about the woman, the wife. We learn that her name is Margaret. We don't learn it right away because it's like she's talking to us with assuming that we know who she is, which is fine. It's fine. I enjoyed this book. Um, I didn't understand why Margaret stayed in this house. It was pretty crazy. But I liked the way the story was told. So Carissa has Margaret like insert different blurbs, different things, and you're sitting there like, okay, so that explains this part. So it's like the story is laid out in like it's piecemealed, which sounds bad but isn't bad. It's almost like we're listening to a recording of her. And you know how somebody relates a story, and basically kind of how I talk on here. You start talking about one thing, and then the next paragraph or the next chapter, you're talking about something that happened way back here, and then you're back to what's happening right now, and then you're back over there. It's like this little squiggly line, and I enjoyed it very, very much. Margaret does explain why she stays in this house. I still would have been like, no. So the September House is called the September House because, as I said, this house is terribly haunted. It's bad. It would scare the living daylights out of anybody. Um, I don't even know if Stephen King could stay in this house. um, it's called the September House because during the month of September, all of the entities that live in this house suddenly go bananas. So you've heard about, when there's a full moon, people go nuts. The emergency rooms are filled up. People are just acting crazy. I don't know if this is a coincidence. It's correlated to the full moon, but we all know correlation doesn't mean causation. But for whatever reason, September is the month of bananas. Absolutely bananas. Things like the walls bleed, like blood dripping down the walls and pooling on the floor. And you're like, how did she? Uh, what? How did she? Like, how did she reconcile this in her head? Her need or her resolve to stay in the house that was the dream house this couple had was enough to override terrible, scary things that are happening in it? I don't know. But she lives in this house all the time. I would have been like, okay, I spent lots of money on his old Victorian house. It's haunted. Okay, great. Great. That first September when stuff started going bananas, it's kind of starts off slowly and then it just increases. And then September 30th or October 1st is all over. I think that I would have saved some money all year long and moved into a hotel. Now, the entities do not show themselves to everybody. At first, she's the only one that can see them. She's the only one that sees the bleeding in the house. And then later on, her husband can see this stuff happening. Well, her husband ends up disappearing. Like he can't live in this house anymore and he disappears. Slowly, we learn what happened. This, because he disappeared and has been gone for a few months, this prompted their daughter, Catherine, to decide to come over. And Margaret is very worried that the entities in the house are going to go bananas and she's going to see it. So she's doing everything that she can to try to keep the ghosts at bay. She even brings in a priest who does exorcisms, and that seems to help a little bit. But the entities in the house seem to be getting stronger. Um, and it's going to be very, very hard for Margaret to explain some things that she does in the house. Like, there is an entity who was a former housekeeper, and she does her housekeeping stuff all the time. But in September, she goes bananas and starts putting things in weird places. Um, the entity makes tea, cooks dinner, does all kinds of stuff for Margaret. And Margaret just lets her do it. And when Margaret's daughter ends up coming over, now Margaret's daughter Catherine had never been to the house. She was an adult when they purchased it, and Margaret has to make a deal with the entity. Hey, you're gonna have to not do this stuff. I know that you want to do it, and I know that you enjoy doing it, but you can't do it when Catherine's here. But but the entity does it anyway. She can't help herself. She can't help herself. The entity realizes that Catherine can't see her. So now Margaret is looking like a crazy person because all of a sudden there's a pot on the stove that's boiling. There's furniture being rearranged. Stuff's happening all around the house, and Catherine can't see any of it. So Catherine's like, I think my mom is losing it. Now, there is a history, some mental health issues that are in the family. Some of that stuff is hereditary. So Catherine is starting to think that that's what's happening to her mother. And the story just progresses from there. How Margaret deals with everything that's happening in this house, trying to mitigate her daughter. At one point, her daughter calls the cops because they don't know where she doesn't know where her dad is. He won't answer the phone. Margaret doesn't seem to care, or it's just kind of like, well, he didn't want to be here, so he left. And she's okay with it, but Catherine can't understand why. Well, we find out why in the book, and we find out what's going on with these entities. Ultimately, basically how to get them to calm down and maybe leave the property. I liked this book. I really did. It was scary, only because that you've got these entities that range in benign to like monster level, and that makes it scary, especially when you're seeing it from Margaret's perspective. How she deals with all the entities, all the juggling that she has to do. And you can see how you start thinking that maybe she's gone off the deep end somewhere. She's hallucinating or something, because you don't know if this stuff is real, especially towards the end when the cops start getting involved. Yeah, and the ending, oh my gosh, you need to sit down when you get through the ending, okay? Yeah, great read. Go to your library, pick up this book. I enjoyed it very much. See if they have it. They should. It's relatively new. If they don't have it, if your library doesn't have it, you can always ask them to order it from another library. If your library has an app, you might be able to put it on hold through your app, or you can just go there, read it. It's fun in a scary way. It doesn't give me nightmares, but it did make me think about, what if my house was haunted? Would I be able to deal with it in the same way that Margaret does? So it's great storytelling. I enjoyed how the story unfolded. As I said before, y'all be kind to yourself, be kind to each other. We don't know what's going on in each other's lives. All right. Right now it's December. It's the holiday time, and a lot of people struggle with holiday time. Okay. It's very hard for a lot of people. So just be kind to each other. Show some grace. All right. And give yourself a break. Show yourself some grace too. Okay. Y'all leave in the comments if you've read this book. Let me know what you thought about it. Did you like it? What did you think about the storytelling and all of that? If you didn't like it, tell me. I would love to know. But as always, be kind to yourself, be kind to each other. I know I said that already, but it's worth saying again, especially this time of year. Thank you for coming.